Using layers is pretty simple in layout and can go a long way in helping you keep your document organized and running efficiently as the page count and content begins to grow. Let's open up the Layers panel and explore the different layer settings. Here we have the option to add, name, or delete layers. We can also switch which layer we're currently drawing on, change the visibility, lock, and set whether information shows up on just one page or repeats like a master page on every page of the document. When we look at our layer list, we can see that there are 2 layers already in our document. The first layer is the default layer that functions like layer 0 in SketchUp. Notice that the default layer has a single page icon next to it, which means that anything drawn on that layer shows up only on that page. Below that is a shared layer called On Every Page, which means that anything drawn on that layer will do exactly as it says, show up on every page. You can tell it's a shared layer by the multi-page icon next to its name. Let's now take a minute to explore how shared layers work in more detail. Still on the last page we worked on, the one with the CAD drawing, let's select the oven line work and right-click it and select Move to Layer and choose On Every Page. If we scroll back through our pages, we can see that the oven drawing now shows up on each. Another way to check to see if objects are shared or not between pages is to select them and see what color they highlight. Non-shared layers are blue, while shared layers highlight dark red. If we want to switch whether a layer is shared or not, we can do that at any time by clicking on the little page or pages icon. Note that if we're switching from shared to single page, then we're prompted to decide whether to keep the information on just the current page or copy it to all the other pages. Next, we can control the visibility of a layer, same as in SketchUp and other desktop publishing programs. The eye is closed means that the layer is frozen, and the eye back open means that it's showing. Next to visibility is the lock icon, which prevents us from editing anything on that layer when it's locked. Locking applies to both single-page layers and content on shared layers. If you're worried about accidentally drawing on the wrong layer, keeping non-active layers locked when not in use is a good way to prevent that. We've also already looked at how we can arrange objects drawn on the same layer, so now let's see how we can arrange objects using layer order. Let's move the On Every Page layer up to the default layer, then scan back through our pages again, and see that our oven line work now sits on top of everything else. Now let's take a look at copying content and layers from one document to another. Let's say we set up our current drawing without a title block, and now we want to add one from a template. We can just copy what we want from a template, then paste it into our current document, and notice that Layout retains the layer names and settings between the files. The trick to remember here is that Layout remembers to keep content on the right layers if both documents have the same layer names. So if you're copying a unique layer from one document to another, then everything you're copying automatically gets moved to the default layer. Let's wrap up our layer exploration by seeing what happens when we delete a layer that has content on it. Assuming you're familiar with the process in SketchUp, Layout functions the same way by nicely prompting us as to what we want to do with the content before the layer is deleted. We can either move it to another layer or delete the content along with the layer.